I never heard about the Eden energy healing. Talk to me for a moment about that, Paige. How is it different from Reiki, for example?
So Eden is by a woman named Donna Eden, and she had a practice for a number of years and did some incredible work. And so she trains people to do what she learned to do and to see energy from that perspective. So what we do in Eden energy work is we look at 9 different systems. So it's very comprehensive. It takes in a lot of Chinese medicine. Also builds on a lot with the chakra system. And then we also look at the aura, the electrics, the radiant circuits. We work with the 5 elements. We work with the grid. And we also look at a lot of different flows and patterns that weave everything together, and we assess. So it's a muscle testing, assessment-based approach. In that way, I feel like it's unique in that we can look at so many different aspects of what's happening in the system, and we can assess so many different pieces and get a really clear picture. And work on them from various angles, which I think is a real benefit. And the other thing that we do that's different than a lot of other practices is we give people follow-up work. So there's a real emphasis on learning what's happening in your own system and being able to work on yourself. So that's really important.
So in a way, would you say that this modality goes deeper than Reiki? Your other energy healing?
I don't like to compare in that way because, first of all, because I don't have as much experience with Reiki myself. I've had a few Reiki sessions and I actually did a level 1 training at one point, but I don't feel like I know Reiki. I wouldn't say that. I think that each approach has its strengths, but I think that they're all valid. Some things are going to give you a more in-depth picture of the various aspects of the energy systems. And some things are going to be more like with Reiki, more about just receiving energy and moving things and flows.
Yeah, I love that. It is different, like everything in life, isn't it? So diverse and beautiful.
Yeah, so diverse. But then also, I have to say, once you step into the world of energy, you go in with your picture, but like I always do with my clients, we get this picture at the outset and then we set that to the side and then we start our dialogue with the system. And that's where it really opens up. That's where it gets exciting and so fascinating. And because so much of working with energy is about feeling your way into it. And each person feels energy, experiences energy differently. So they interact with it in different ways. So each person has their own way of doing that. So there's so many different variables to take into account and so much that can come up. And it's a fascinating world, I'll say that.
It sounds like an energetic adventure, isn't it?
It absolutely is. You just never know. You never know where you're going to go. I kind of leave it wide open every time and say, show me, tell me what you need, because that's what we're here for. So tell me what it is you need most right now. And I just follow the energy and let it show me.
I love that. I know that it's extremely important to be open to ask for support and have an energy healer like yourself or other people, a coach, to support us in this journey. I love that idea, and I have people around me myself. What about for those who perhaps they're not ready to have guidance from other people? What would you tell them? Like, how can they guide themselves back to that dance of harmony that we spoke earlier, flow?
So much of that comes back to what people are ready for, like you said, and what they're open to doing for themselves. It's the other piece. And those all kind of go together. Because some people are just more interested in doing it themselves. They don't go to receive sessions and various, whatever the session may be, because they're more the type to kind of read a book or read a program and apply it themselves and do their own thing. And I think that's great. And I think that we all ultimately find our way there through our own growth process. But then there is the other side, which is people who just aren't ready. They're still a lot of times very much attached to the patterns that they're holding. So you can be not ready for a lot of different reasons, but usually, from what I find is that it takes something has to happen for them. It can be a health crisis, it can be some other type of crisis, or it can be this sort of realization that other people are doing X, Y, and Z and moving in a certain way and they're not. It shows up in a lot of different ways, but it seems like it takes a push.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then they either do it themselves, or they go and do some work, or they do a blend, whatever it may be. But there is that moment, and people, they do have to come to it themselves.
It's so, so true. I have been witnessing people around me, my family members, and how much they are attached to the patterns of doing the same thing. It's almost has to do with identity, isn't it, Paige? They're so comfortable.
Well, and that takes us back actually to that first question of, who are you? It's how we define ourselves. It's also how we understand our world. And there's a lot of fear in letting go of those structures, because they help us define who we are in the world and how the world works and what to expect. And that makes us feel safe.
I love the way you said that earlier about structures are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just that we need more flexible structures.
Yeah, flexible and fluid, and that ability to shift and alter, tweak our structures when it's time.
Right, which takes being open. That's a realm that most of us are not ready to embrace, being open to life.